If you're over the age of 40 and you train jiu-jitsu, you probably have a career, a family, and jiu-jitsu all to juggle. So if we're trying to add strength training, that can be a huge challenge. My goal today is to give you a really simple routine. Just 9 working sets, 2 days a week. You're gonna have 3 exercises on one day, 3 exercises on another. You should be able to complete these sessions in less than 45 minutes. And they're going to allow you to become more resilient and less prone to injury, allowing you to train more jiu-jitsu over the span of your career. Our first exercise on day 1 is a barbell Romanian deadlift. It's a great hip dominant exercise that allows you to train full body strength and a little bit of grip strength as well. Today I'm here with Heather and she's gonna demonstrate the exercise. So you set the bar a little bit higher than knee height, you walk it out of the rack, and Heather's gonna keep her back straight and she's gonna keep her shins neutral as she goes through an RDL. She goes down till she feels a stretch in her hamstrings and comes right back up. You're gonna go ahead and repeat that for 8 reps. Make sure that as you go down, you try to stretch those hamstrings as much as you can. We don't let those knees drift forward or our back round at all, just for the sake of range of motion. Exercise 2 on day 1 is going to be pull-ups. Now, if you have any sort of injury or you can't do full range of motion pull-ups, instead we're gonna do lat pull-down. And for lat pull-down, we're gonna do 3 sets of 12, keeping in mind a lot of the concepts for range of motion that we're going to do during pull-ups. So I'm here with Heather to demonstrate those pull-ups. We're gonna make sure that every rep is at a dead hang, where we're at full flexion of the shoulder. The other thing that we're going to do is pull up to the top and make sure that our elbows get close to our ribs, which is very specific to jiu-jitsu. It doesn't really matter what grip we have, as long as we're getting through this full range of motion. You're gonna do 3 sets of as many full range reps as you can. Day 1, exercise 3 is a dumbbell reverse lunge. So Heather is gonna be holding 2 dumbbells. She's going to hinge and reach back with her leg, but keep the dumbbells close to her front leg as she moves through these reps. And what we ideally wanna do is go through all of those reps on one side before moving on to that second side. This is a great exercise variation to train primarily the knee and the hip, and to do so one leg at a time, to really make sure that they can work independently of one another. Our first exercise for day 2 is going to be a barbell back squat. A couple things that we want to keep in mind. As Heather goes through this squat, she's going to be pressing through the full foot. A lot of people have the tendency to lift the heel off the ground as they go deep, but we really want to make sure the whole thing is on the ground. And back up. Another thing is, as Heather goes down, she's keeping that bar over the midfoot. She's not really drifting forward. And if you look at these joint angles present in the bottom of a squat, it's very similar to what you see during different types of open guard. So it has a great amount of transfer to jiu-jitsu if you emphasize squatting as deep as you can manage. Day 2, exercise 2, is the dumbbell bench press. And we're gonna do 3 sets of 12 reps. And there's a few things we wanna keep in mind here. First off, we're gonna have the dumbbells not parallel to one another, but angled at about 45 degrees. And we're gonna have our elbows match that, so that as Heather goes through that bench, she's keeping her elbows somewhat close to her body. She's also producing force from very sharp joint angles again. This is gonna be specific to the way that we will be creating frames when we train jiu-jitsu. And back up to the top. So as she goes through every single rep, she'll go nice and deep, keeping those forearms straight up and down, and then come back to the top without flaring our elbows. Day 2, exercise 3 is the dumbbell row. And here's a few things we want to keep in mind. First, we're gonna get set up on a bench with our knee and hand far enough apart that our back is nice and horizontal. From here, we're gonna let our shoulder blade drift forward, and start from this bottom position and move up in a slightly rounded shape until the dumbbell's at the hip, finishing with that shoulder blade being drawn back. If you notice, as Heather goes through these reps, her shoulder blade is starting pretty high up here, and then as she goes down, it drifts further along her rib cage. How could I have forgotten? We gotta go over the progression. So now that I've given you these exercises and what to do on each day, we have to keep another few things in mind. First off, we want to ramp up. What I mean by that is doing warm-up sets. What we're gonna do is start with something that we know is too light, and we're gonna do this every single time. And you'll slowly add weight to the bar until we get to what's known as a working set. Those working sets are generally gonna be within 5 reps of failure. What I have listed for you on each day are just the working sets. I would advise doing 1 to 3 ramp ups to make sure that your body is ready to go before we do a more maximal working set. The other thing that we want to keep in mind is that week to week, we should aim to incrementally improve performance. Some weeks that might mean adding 5 or 10 pounds to the bar. Other times it might be more comfortable for us to add a rep or 2. Know that the reps that I've indicated are mere suggestions. What's far more important is that we're showing progress over time. And if you get to a point where the workout that you're doing is something that you could have never handled week 1, that means that our body has changed so much that we're far less likely to get injured on the mats. And not only that, you'll notice your performance improving as well. If you like the overall format, I cover workouts like this every single month in Team EP, and I'll have the link below. Go ahead and check out the 7-day free trial. We have lots of different programs that can give you a little bit more attention and a little bit more of a boost in terms of the time spent in the gym. We want to make sure that our time spent in the gym is really complementing what we're doing on the mats and not competing with it. If we're able to do that, we can actually improve our overall output by adding in strength training. I know this seems crazy at first, so just go ahead and get started with the workout plan that I provided here. And eventually, you may want to look into more. While you're at it, like, subscribe, do the things down here. Yeah.